After a few pretty rough weeks of reselling and just kind of feeling overall bad about myself as a reseller.
Life is pointless and nothing matters, and I'm always tired. Also, I can't sleep. I'm overeating. None of my old hobbies interest me.
I doubled my profits from the prior week of reselling in this week's What Sold video. I'm so excited not only to share with you what sold for me in this week of reselling, we're talking about October 24th through the 30th, but I'm also really excited to share with you how. Stay tuned.
Won't nobody love you the way they should. Won't nobody check up on you, make sure you're good. Won't nobody check those body treatments for your neck.
Hi everyone, my name is Becky Park. I am a part-time reseller on a variety of reselling platforms, which means that when I am not at my full-time job as a high school choir teacher or hanging out with my family or doing stuff at church or wherever, I am finding little pockets of time to do what I think is one of the greatest side hustles in the world, reselling. And that is what my channel is all about. And in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you everything that sold for me over the span of a week. And I'll be sharing not only what sold, but where I got the item, how much it sold for, how much profit I made on everything. So if that sounds interesting to you, definitely make sure that you hit that subscribe button because I do make a video like this every single week. And in today's video, we are talking about a great week of sales. And I accredit that to a couple different things. First, I really moved out a lot of older inventory. And so some of these items didn't necessarily sell for a ton, but it really helped to just move these pieces out. And in doing so, you know, I do think that sales help more sales happen. So a lot of resellers will say things like, you should accept the first offer that you get in the morning. I don't necessarily subscribe to that idea 100% because if I'm getting like a $2 offer, which has happened before, I'm not accepting it just because it's the first offer of the day. But there is some truth to the idea that when you're having a good sales day, like it's a good sales day. Sales just seem to keep coming in and it has something to do with just you triggering the algorithm in some way. I don't know how. I don't know how to explain any of these algorithms to you because I don't even know that all of the platforms know themselves. But in this week of reselling, I sold on 4 different platforms. And I think this week is a really good example of why, for me, cross-listing is just one of the best things that I added to my reselling business. I know it's not for everyone. I know there are many of you who watch my channel who like to just stick to one reselling platform, and I get your reasoning why. I totally respect the decisions that you are making. But for me, cross-listing on so many platforms is what helped me find a lot of success this week. And you guys know I cross-list using a Chrome extension called List Perfectly. I don't think I could live without it at this point. And I do have a link down below in the description that you can use to save 30% on your first month of List Perfectly. And they have a free trial as well if you want to try it out first and see if you like it or not. So definitely check that out if you haven't already. And I'll also link a playlist here of List Perfectly tutorial videos that I have made in the past. But let's jump right into all of the things that have sold for me in this week, starting with Monday, which was October 24th. So it started off really strong on Poshmark, and I just felt like, man, this is going to be a pretty good day of sales and a pretty good week. So the first sale on Poshmark was this pair of Levi's ribcage straight high-rise jeans in a women's size 30, which is great because it's a little bit bigger of a size. I surprisingly found these at my local Goodwill for $6.99. I was shocked for a couple reasons. One, I don't know, I don't feel like I usually find that many great jeans at my local Goodwill, so this was, yeah, I don't know, it's probably one of the best jeans that I found. And not only that, but they didn't mark it up. I think they just didn't know what they had. So I only paid $6.99 for them. They sold for $50. And once you factor in Poshmark's 20% fees and my cost of goods, my net profit on those jeans was $33.01. I have not sold very many pairs of Levi's ribcage jeans just because I don't find them very often. I think this was only my second time selling them, but they sold fast, and I do think they're still selling pretty well. The next thing to sell on Poshmark was actually a bundle, and I think I had 2 bundles this week, which was amazing because I feel like I have not been selling a lot of bundles. And so the first item to sell was this pair of Athleta Blue Mercari Sonar Yoga leggings in a size large. Those I got as part of a wholesale pallet that I bought off of a reseller, and so my average cost of goods for those was $3.92. I do think that you're gonna see a good number of sales sales here, especially from Poshmark, that are a little bit older of a listing. I mean, some of them are a little bit older like this, which was probably listed for close to 6 months, and some of them are like a lot older, like a year or two old. But I think the reason why they sold this week is because I did put an emphasis on relisting stale listings, which I think is really important to get fresh eyes on listings that have been listed for a while. Sometimes we have really great stuff listed, and for whatever reason it doesn't sell in a timely manner. I think the best thing to do is relist those items, and I do have a video about relisting right here as well that you can watch. But the next item to sell in this bundle was this Peruvian Connection green Thea pullover. Thea was the style name of the sweater. It was an open knit sweater, and it was in a women's size large. That one I probably paid a little too much for. I paid about $10.05. That was my average cost of goods for that sweater at a local pop-up consignment sale. And if I remember correctly, I don't actually think I paid $10.05 for that particular sweater. I think I paid less, but because we're going off of average cost of goods, that's what we're saying that it cost. But this bundle sold for $60. That was with discounted shipping, because that was an offer that I sent to the buyer once I saw that she liked both of these items. What I like to do when I see that someone has liked, more than one item in my Poshmark closet is I will go in and create a bundle for the buyer out of the items that they liked, and I'll send them a really great offer with discounted shipping and leave a little comment on the bundle letting them know that I sent them an offer with a discount. And my reasoning for that is because, when you start creating a bundle for somebody, it shows up in their notifications. And then when you send an offer, it shows up in their notifications. And then when you leave a comment on the bundle, it shows up in their notifications. And so my goal is to really kind of blast their notifications for just a quick second. It's like bam, 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 all within 30 seconds. And that way they can't really ignore the fact that they got an offer on this bundle. And hopefully when they see it, they are more inclined to buy because I'm sending them a really great deal. I do also have kind of a bundling tutorial, if you will, for Poshmark, and I will link that video here as well. And all of the videos that I have linked in the cards, I will also link down below in the description so it's easier for you to find when you're done watching this video. So that bundle sold for $60. My cost of goods for those two items was $13.92. I did offer a $2.68 shipping discount, and so my net profit on both items was $31.35. Not amazing, but they got two items out of my inventory, so I'll take it. On Mercari, I sold another pair of Levi's. These were not very great Levi's, though. These were the 559 relaxed fit medium wash jeans in a men's 40 by 32. These sold for $16. I had $2.99 into them from a local thrift store, and so I made a profit of $10.65. I do feel like most men's Levi's jeans can sell between $20 to $25, sometimes more. These, I just went ahead and took the offer though, because I was just trying to get stuff moving, and they were a little bit older of a listing, and I was just happy to move them. The next thing to sell was this White House Black Market paisley long sleeve boat neck dress in a size small. This one I also got as part of that wholesale palette from a fellow reseller. It sold for $22 on Mercari, which I was extremely pleased with, because White House Black Market can sell for a decent amount, but it always sits. So I feel like I'm just always relieved when a White House Black Market piece sells. I do not ever pick it up at the thrift store myself. I can't remember the last time I actually saw it in the wild and was like, ooh, you got to come home with me. I don't think that that's ever happened, just because I know how long I tend to sit on it. But I do have a lot of White House Black Market listed because a friend of mine at church, who often gives me a lot of her old clothes, a lot of her stuff is from White House Black Market. And not only that, if I get stuff in pallets and stuff, I'll go ahead and list it because it will sell for decent money. It just, you're going to sit on it for a while. So I did make a profit on that of $14.94. But needless to say, I was very happy to get it out. On Tuesday, which was October 25th, on eBay, I sold this Norm Thompson blue geometric wool blend grandpa sweater in a size 2XL. It was vintage, and it sold for $25.90. That is an offer that I sent out to watchers, and that was promoted at 3%. I had $3.92 into it from that wholesale palette, so I made a profit of $16.47. Norm Thompson is a whatever whatever brand. It's not like it typically fetches a ton of money unless, it's like a really cool vintage style and it's like very bold and chunky and whatnot. This one was like okay of a vintage sweater. I would probably not have picked it up at the thrift store if it were, me going out and thrifting myself. It got sent to me in a box, so I just went ahead and listed it. It did, however, get a lot of attention on a variety of reselling platforms, but specifically on Depop. And after this day is when I started listing a ton of vintage sweaters from a vintage wholesale box that I purchased on Fleek. I do have a video about Fleek that I will link right here, and I'll have it down in the description too. Oh my goodness, like vintage sweaters, especially for men, they do so well on Depop. So now I'm like all about that vintage sweater life. And whenever I go to Goodwill, I'm like digging through the sweaters because these things can do really, really well. This one, again, not the best example of it, but even this did get a lot of attention on a lot of platforms, but especially Depop. On Wednesday, which was October 26th, on Poshmark, I sold this pair of new with tags Liverpool black beaded tuxedo stripe Abbey, that was the style name, mid-rise jeans in a size 8. Those sold for $36 with discounted shipping, and I made a profit of $27.08. Not too long ago, I did an unboxing from America's Thrift Supply. They reached out and asked if I wanted to do an unboxing of a premium denim box and a micro bale of dresses. It was a pretty atrocious unboxing. I did not get very good stuff, which, like, kudos to them for sending like an honest depiction of what people get in these boxes versus cherry picking really great items for me, knowing that I was going to do an unboxing. But it was a rough box. This pair of jeans came in that premium denim box. They're not premium denim. Like, when I think premium denim, I'm thinking, jeans that retail for $200, $300. These, I think, retailed for like 80 something. I don't remember. But, they did actually sell pretty quickly, so I was happy about that. And I didn't have any cost of goods into them because, they were sent to me by this company for me to do an unboxing. So I did make a net profit of $27.08, which is amazing. I don't know that I would necessarily go out and source Liverpool jeans, although, they were new with tags, so yeah. On eBay, I sold this new with tags blank NYC faux suede drape front jacket. It was in a charcoal gray color and it sold for $50. It was promoted at 3%. I had $11.16 into that jacket from the pop-up consignment sale that I love shopping, and so I made a profit of $28.75. Blank NYC is a pretty good brand. They sell a lot of like moto jackets, faux leather, suede like you're seeing here. They also sell jeans, I think maybe even, sweaters and stuff of that nature. I do think that these motorcycle jackets do the best for them. There are some bloggers who really like their jackets and talk about them all the time. I know I actually purchased a faux leather jacket because of a blogger that I really like. And I've heard some resellers say that they really don't like picking up this brand, but it's actually always done really well for me whenever I pick it up. I made a profit of $28.75 on that, so I was pretty happy. The next thing to sell was this Nike Swim dry fit blue space dye long sleeve shirt in a men's size extra large. This sold for $18. I had $3.99 into it from a local thrift store. I'd just never heard of Nike Swim, and I wanted to see how it did. I wanted to see how many likes it got, how much attention it got, and it actually did get a good number of likes. I think I had it listed for either 20 or 25, sold it for 18, made a profit of $10.24. Now I know I don't necessarily need to pick this kind of stuff up in the future, especially just kind of plain long sleeve tees. But if it's something a little bit more substantial with this like Nike Swim line, sure, like I think it might be worth it. The next thing to sell was this pair of new with tags Spanx green malachite. I don't know if that's the right way to pronounce that. Velvet leggings in a size medium. They were high rise and they were just quite divine. I don't know. I thought they were so cool. I got them at a pop-up consignment sale, and my cost of goods for those was $10.05 because that was my average cost of goods that day. Just like, what was it? That Peruvian Connection sweater. They sold for $62 on eBay. I was shooketh. Like, I don't know. I don't know why I just didn't think that they would sell for that much. And actually, when I hauled these, one of you left a comment saying that you had sold yours for like 65 or 70 or something. And that was part of what gave me the confidence to list them so high. So I did, and you were right. They sold for $62, and I made a profit of $43.11. Y'all don't even know how much I love selling Spanx. It is one of my favorite brands to sell. The next item to sell was this Ivy Jane multi-print tassel sleeve tunic in a women's size extra large. This one sold for $28.49, and it was promoted, and I did have a 5% off sale going on. I had $9.23 into that. That was my average cost of goods for that pop-up consignment sale for that day. So I made a profit of $15.09, which isn't like a huge amount, but I really like this sale because I really picked it up mainly based on style. I did check comps too while I was there, and they weren't horrible. Like, they were about, at that $28 to $35 mark for their tunics. But I picked it up because it was a little bit bigger of a size. I just thought it was really fun, and it sold really fast. So, it just made me kind of pat myself on the back a little bit for finding something that people were interested in and sold right away. And then I did have a return that I'll just mention quickly because I want you to know returns happen and they are a part of the business. But it was this Vera Bradley little like wristlet bag, and it was just because of fit. It was because her cell phone wouldn't fit in there. And is it irritating that I did put pictures of the measurements in the listing and she could have just like looked at the measurements and figured that out before making the purchase? Yeah, it's a little irritating, but also it's fine. Like, it is what it is. The next thing to sell was this pair of Cody jeans. They were these bootcut jeans with an adjustable waist because they were in a youth size 16. So a lot of kids' jeans and pants, if you look on the inside of the waist, you'll notice there's kind of this like elastic band, and there's little buttons so you can pull the elastic band and button it in the little slits that they have to make the pants tighter. If you have a child who's a little bit skinnier, you can let it out if your child had a lot to eat that day. And so they did have an adjustable waist. These sold for $17.99. These, I think, were part of that atrocious premium denim. I don't even remember. I don't remember what. Oh, no, these came in a thread-up DIY denim rescue box. And the reason I'm saying I had no cost of goods is because I did unbox that box on Whatnot. And although it was a pretty bad box and I didn't sell that many items on that Whatnot show from this box because it was pretty atrocious, the items that I did sell did cover the cost of the box. So anything else from that box that I sell will end up being, pure profit. So I did make a profit of $14.31 on these. I didn't really know what Cody jeans was. I'd never really heard of it, but I think someone in my Whatnot show was saying that it's a pretty popular brand and they pick it up pretty often, kind of like Western cowboy inspired. Moving on to Thursday, which was October 27th. This is another item that was relisted, and actually I would say 3 of the 4 items that sold on Poshmark sold as a result of relisting. So again, just another kick in the butt or push to let you know that relisting really works. It really is, I think, an important part of reselling. If your listing has been sitting around for forever, it's worth checking why. Maybe it's priced too high. Maybe you actually spelled the brand name wrong. Whatever it might be, it doesn't hurt to revisit stale listings and maybe tweak them a little bit so that they're a little bit more desirable and more people can see them and hopefully someone buys it. So the first thing to sell that was relisted was this Lole, don't know if I'm saying the brand name correctly, burgundy wool blend ribbed full zip sweater in a size medium. This sold for $25. It was something that I got from a reseller buyout that I did well over a year ago at this point. So I had $1.02 into this item and I made a profit of $18.98. So, it was a pretty good sale, but I did have to sit on that for a while. But like I said, I did relist it and it sold fairly quickly right after being relisted. The next item, which was also relisted, was this pair of Sanita brown leather Mary Jane comfort clogs in a European size 41, which is the equivalent of a US 10. These sold for $40 with discounted shipping. These also came from that reseller buyout that I did, so I only had $1.02 into them, and I made a profit of $28.30. Sanita is a brand similar to Dansko and Allegria. It's another one of those comfort clog type brands. These, like I said, did sit for a long time. I don't think that they're quite as good as Dansko, but they did eventually sell for a decent amount, so there you go. The next thing to sell was this Lorna Jane LJ Black Peyton Neon Peach long sleeve activewear top in a size medium. Lorna Jane is an activewear brand that I recently learned about. I feel like They're kind of well known for their prints. They have a lot of like fun prints and whatnot, which this isn't really. This is just color blocking. But I don't know. This I did have for a very long time. So this wasn't my best experience with it. But I do feel like a lot of activewear brands, like their tops just don't really fetch as much money, except for Lululemon. Like I feel like Lululemon's long sleeve shirts can do pretty well. Their tanks don't. I just feel like all activewear tanks are kind of whatever these days. But this did end up selling for $15. I had $5.14 into it, so I only made a profit of $6.86. So Lorna Jane, I'll try it again in the future if I see it. But if the experience isn't much better, then I'll probably, leave it behind from that point on. The next thing to sell was this Banana Republic non-iron tailored slim fit button-up shirt in a size medium for men. This is actually something that my husband gave me to resell. It sold for $16 with discounted shipping because I use a Chrome extension called Poshmark VA, and one of the many things that it does for me is it'll send out offers to likers like 5 minutes after someone likes an item. So it saves me the time of having to do it myself. Oftentimes it results in sales like it did here, and I made a profit of $10.12. On eBay, I sold this Janie and Jack striped embroidered floral flare sleeve top in a youth size 7. This sold for $19.79. I did have a 5% off sale going on. It was also promoted at 3%. And that was something that I had bought for my daughter when Janie and Jack was having a huge sale. And so I made a profit of $16 because, there's not really a cost of goods. It was something that we used. However, I am irritated by how little my daughter wore this. I feel like I have gotten her so many cute, okay, not so many, but a few really cute pieces from Janie and Jack. And I think they're just like a little too dressy for her. You know what I mean? Like they're very almost like Southern charm, like floral, kind of satiny. I don't know. And it's not super her vibe, so I get it. But these pieces are so cute. I wish she had worn them more often. And I do wish that like the 3 times she did wear it, I had enough sense to take pictures of her in it, but it's okay. Now this piece has moved into someone else's home and I hope that their child wears it much more than mine did. Moving on to Friday, which was October 28th. And you guys, I had a great weekend, which it was amazing. On Poshmark, I sold this pair of New Balance Activalight, I think that's what that says, 610 version 3 all-terrain sneakers in a size 8.5. You guys, I've had these for so long, like I want to say like 2 years. So thank you, relisting. It finally worked. And I sold these for $20 with discounted shipping. And I had $8.20 into those because I bought them at a pop-up consignment sale last year. This pop-up consignment sale that I keep talking about, it comes around twice a year, and I bought these last year, so I made a profit of $5.12. I have said it before and I'll say it again. I am so bad at selling sneakers. I feel like people are out there selling New Balance shoes for like $80, $100, and I'm out here selling them for $20. Obviously, I'm not picking up the right ones. I just suck at looking up comps on them. I just suck at recognizing which ones are the good ones. I just should stop selling sneakers is what it is. The next thing to sell was this pair of Columbia khaki activewear shorts in a men's size 36. There were some like spots, I believe, on the shorts, and these were part of that wholesale palette. I just listed them to list them because I was trying to list everything in that palette so that I could make as much money off of it as possible. So they sold for $10. I made a profit of $3.13. Could I have maybe not listed these? Yeah, probably. But $3.13 is $3.13 that I didn't have before, and I can get my son, large fries from McDonald's 3 times with that. So there you go. The next thing to sell was this Mountain Hardwear gray button-up shirt in a size extra large. This sold for $20 with discounted shipping because of Posh VA. I had $4.20 into it from a Plato's Closet, like 80% off clearance sale, so I made a profit of $9.12. I do like the brand Mountain Hardwear. I had never tried selling one of their button-up shirts before, so I just wanted to try it out. Turns out I don't really need to pick them up in the future, but I tried it and now I know. The next thing to sale was kind of a cool and surprising one. It was this pair of Oesh, don't know if I'm saying the brand name right, 360 red lace-up sneakers in a women's size 9. These just looked kind of funky, and a lot of times funky means good. I found them at a local Goodwill, and I put them in my cart, looked up comps, as I was going through everything, and comps were actually pretty good. I think that this is like a comfort brand. I almost feel like, and I just don't remember because it's been a while since I looked at comps or did any research on this brand, but I almost feel like, it's one of those shoes that people with problems with their feet can wear. But these sold for $50 on Poshmark, which I believe was my full asking price, and they sold fairly quickly, so I guess this is kind of a bolo. I don't know. This is my only experience with the brand. Let me know if you've ever heard of the brand and if you've ever sold it. But I had $3.19 into those shoes because they were on some kind of sale. I don't even know what. And so I made a profit of $36.81 on those shoes. The next thing to sell was over on eBay, and these were a pair of Dansko pewter leather Mary Jane slip-on comfort shoes in a size European 38, which is the equivalent of a US 7.5. I have had these for so long. I want to say like 2 years or something, and they finally sold for $29.90, which is an offer that I sent out to watchers, and that of course is after they were relisted. I had $9 into those, so I did make a profit of $17.23, but man, I held on to them for so long, and I kind of don't understand why, because I feel like they're really cute for Danskos especially. I don't know, sometimes that just happens. You have some really great stuff that ends up sitting and sitting and sitting, and that's just the way it goes sometimes. The next thing to sell was this Banana Republic red and blue fitted crew neck striped t-shirt in a size medium. Literally just a t-shirt, but I listed it. I think this was actually my husband's, and he was like, I don't wear this anymore either. So I listed it. It sold for $9. We made a profit of $7.08. That's pretty cool to me, you know, like if I tried selling that at a garage sale or something, it would have sold for like 50 cents. So I made $7.08 on something my husband wore a ton and just doesn't wear anymore. Awesome. The next thing to sell was this pair of silver jeans. They were the Girlfriend Distressed Acid Wash skinny jeans in a size 28 by 29. Those sold for $27.99. I did have a 20% off sale going on, which is why they had dropped to that price. I had $3.99 into those jeans. I got them at a local thrift store, and I made a profit of $19.02. That day, I had purchased I want to say 8 to 10 pairs of silver jeans, and they are slowly selling off. They're taking a little bit longer than I maybe would have liked, but that's all right. On Mercari, I sold this polo by Ralph Lauren rugby striped pullover hoodie in a size large. This sold for $40. I think that was the full price after, it dropped and dropped and dropped using smart pricing on Mercari, but $40 was my floor price, so it got there, and then someone just bought it outright. I only had $2 into that because I got it from a friend of mine who moved and didn't want to take all of this clothes that he was no longer wearing with him, and so I benefited from his move, and I made a profit on that sweater of $32.54. I have loved selling this man's clothing. Moving on to Saturday, which was October 29th, on Poshmark, again, just some older pieces that sold because of relisting. The first item was this pair of Dockers D3 Classic Fit gray flat front dress pants in a size 36 by 29. These sold for $15 with discounted shipping. I had $3.92 into them because they came in that wholesale pallet. Again, I made a profit of $5.40. So sometimes what comes with the territory of relisting stale inventory is smaller profits, because if it's stale, maybe you decided as you were relisting to drop the price. For me, a lot of my older listings are items that I really just want to get rid of at this point. So sometimes I will dramatically drop the price. But these, $15 for a pair of Dockers, that's about right. Let's be honest. And, $3.92 is too much to be spending on a pair of Dockers. That's not something that I would pick up at the thrift store or even at the bins, to be honest with you. You're just not going to make very much on those. So it is what it is. The next thing to sell was this REI Cooperative Gray Sherpa lined snap button pullover in a size large. I have never picked up this brand before. I don't know that I've necessarily even seen it that much, and I don't really know very much about it. I know it's a store, and I think they have really good quality stuff, but I picked this up because it was just so gosh darn cute. I got it at a local Goodwill. I put it in my cart, and I just kept debating because it was $6, and I was like, forget it, I'm just going to get it. It's the season. It's, just a great everyday piece. It sold for $30, and I made a profit of $18.01. The next item definitely sold because of relisting. It was this pair of Peter Millar straight leg jeans in a size 34 for men, which is great. Except for the fact that when I got them home and I photographed them, I noticed that they had been hemmed. So I don't remember what the inseam was. I think it was supposed to be 34, 32 or something, but it ended up being 28 or 29. And so I obviously put that in the title. I took pictures. I put it in the description. And Finally, about a year later, and after being relisted, it sold for $28. I picked those up at a Goodwill near where my in-laws live. So I had $6.99 into them. I made a profit of $15.41, which I think is pretty great on a pair of hem jeans. On eBay, I sold this pair of Clark's Black Aria Frost ankle slip-on boots. They were lined with like a faux fur, and they were in a size 8.5. They sold for $39.99, which was the price because of my 20% off sale. I don't remember what like the real price was. These I got at the Seattle Goodwill outlet, and I only had about $2 into them because that was my average cost of goods for that trip. So they were a great pickup, and my cost of goods on those was $31.84. Yes, please. The next thing to sell was this pair of Adidas black elastic waist 3-stripe pull-on track pants in a size large for women. These sold for $12.90. That was an offer that I sent out to watchers. They came in that wholesale pallet, so I had $3.92 into them. I made a profit of $7.66. Again, a lot of smaller profit sales, but they all add up, and I was pretty happy with the amount that I ended up with for the week. On Mercari, I sold another one of my friend's pieces, the one who moved. This was a Nike Spell Out hoodie. It was brown. The spell out was kind of in like a felty material. I put Y2K in the title. I may have put 90s. I don't remember, but it just has that feel, you know? And I do actually think it was from that Y2K era. You know, when I listed it, I looked up a ton of comps, and that's what all the comps were saying of this identical hoodie. This sold for $59 on Mercari, this Nike hoodie. Like, I was very shocked, and it sold very quickly. It sold probably within a few days of being listed. I only had $2 into it because it came from my friend, and so I made a profit on that hoodie of $49.09. Yes, please. More of that in my life, please. The next thing to sell was this torrid black V-neck jersey knit dress in a size 4X. That sold for $28. I got it at a local consignment store during their birthday sale, so I only had $2.52 into it. I made a profit of $21.57, and the best thing is it really wasn't listed for very long. The next day of sales that we'll talk about is Sunday, which was October 30th, and I sold things on 3 different platforms. I actually sold things on 3 different platforms on Friday and Saturday as well, which is why I think the weekend was just monstrous for me. And again, that's only because of List Perfectly, which helps me to cross list so quickly. So on Poshmark, I sold this pair of Converse Chuck Taylor's All-Star Low Top Galaxy Space sneakers in a women's size 7. These sold for $40. I got them at the Seattle Goodwill bins. So I only had about $2 into them. That was like my average cost of goods for everything that I got that day, because you pay by the pound at the bins. And so I made a profit of $30 on those. Not bad. And you know, typically I have really bad luck with brands like Converse and Vans, but I think these did pretty good. The next sale was this pair of American Eagle dark wash low-rise skinny jeans in a size 0. So kind of a lot going against this pair of jeans. I know low-rise is like trying to make a comeback, but still I feel like there's not as many people shopping for low-rise jeans yet, and they were in a really small size, and yet they sold for $21. That was with discounted shipping, and that was a sale that happened because of Posher VA, and I did have $3.92 into them because they were part of that wholesale pallet, but I still made a profit of $11.16, and I was pretty happy with that. The next thing to sell was this pair of Keen black leather Bidwell Oxford lace-up shoes in a size 8.5. Now, these, to be honest, were kind of a rough transaction, and it was 100% my fault. I saw some comps that said that these were a men's shoe, and so I listed them as a men's 8.5. However, the person received them, and they accepted the purchase and then gave me a 1-star rating and said these are women's, not men's, as stated. You know, I personally wish that they had just opened a case and Poshmark would have let them return the shoes to me, and I would have been happy to accept them. So I feel bad, but he already went ahead and accepted them. So that's that. I hope he, you know, reposhes them or finds something to do with them, because he did pay $29 for them. I had $10.05 into them from the pop-up consignment sale. So I made a profit of $13.15. But again, I just feel bad that, someone got stuck with something that isn't going to work for them. And it is 100% my fault. So that made me feel really bad that I made such a silly error. If you're watching, I'm so sorry, but I doubt that you're a viewer. On eBay, I sold this Polo Ralph Lauren pink striped button-up shirt in a size medium. This sold for $19.99. It was promoted at 3%. I had $5.49 into that sucker because it came from a men's thread-up rescue box, and that was my average cost of goods for that particular box. So I made a profit of $10.60. The next thing to sell was this pair of Haflinger, don't know if I'm saying that right, German G-Star felted pure new wool clog slippers in a European size 37, which is the same thing as a US 6. Those sold for $47. They were promoted at 3%. I had about $2 into them because they were from the Seattle bins. You guys, that Seattle bins trip was one of my best trips for shoes, like the most amazing shoes, and I will link that haul video right here. But I made a profit on those of $35.82. And the only reason I know about this brand is because I did a thrift with me video once, and I was showing like all the shoes that I was seeing, and I pulled a pair of Haflingers off of the shoe rack at a local thrift store, and I like said in my voiceover for that video, like, I don't know what these are, like they just look like nothing, and I put them back. And so many of you left comments being like, no, you should have gotten them. They're good money. They just look like nothing. They look like house slippers. And that's why I left them behind that first time I found them. But now that you guys left those kinds of comments, I knew better. And so when I found these at the bins, I was like, oh, you are coming home with me. And they did so well. They sold for $47. That's insane. On Facebook Marketplace, I had a really great sale. It was this pair of Liberty Denim Carpenter overalls. They had like the bib on the front. They had, pockets and all that kind of stuff. They were in a size 48 by 30, which is, a little bit bigger of a size. I found them at a local thrift store for $7.99, and they sold for my full asking price on Facebook Marketplace of $40. I made a net profit of $29.30 on those. So the weird thing with this transaction is that, he purchased them, and then somehow he was able to purchase them again. And it's not that I had the same listing up twice or anything like that. I think it was like a little Facebook glitch. I don't know. And so he reached out and he was like, I don't know what to do. I ordered the same thing twice. And I was like, okay. Like, I was like, you should probably reach out to Facebook. Like, I don't really know how to remedy that. But I ended up just canceling one of the transactions, and I was really scared that it was just going to cancel the whole thing. I was really scared that I was going to send him the overalls, but there wasn't really going to be a record of this sale. But I think everything went through pretty well. So it was the weirdest thing. Let me know if you guys have had that happen to you on Facebook Marketplace. The last sale that we'll actually talk about was a direct sale on Facebook Marketplace. So, with Facebook Marketplace, you can sell two ways. You can sell to people who are local to you, and usually what happens there is, you arrange a place and time that you're going to meet your buyer. Very seldom I have given out my home address and had people come to my house. Those are usually only people who I have like mutual friends with, because you can see that information. Otherwise, we'll usually meet in a public place, or I'll do like a porch pickup. Like I'll just leave the item on my porch and they'll Venmo me or PayPal me, and they can just come to my door, take the item. We don't even have to interact. But for this item, we actually met in the parking lot of a church at a pretty busy intersection. And actually, I think there was a church service going on at the time. It was this vintage Carhartt green button-down work shirt in a size 2XL. This sold for $35. I had $1.02 into it because it came from that reseller buyout. And so I made a profit of $33.98. And the person who bought this from me, he was so sweet. He was so nice. And he was like, if you ever come across any more Carhartt in this size, I don't remember what his job was, but it was very like hands-on. He was outdoors. It was like very dirty. And he was like, Carhartt is one of the only durable brands that really works for me when I'm working. So if you ever come across anything in my size, let me know. So that was really cool to make that connection with him. Plus, I think he said his mom was like the president of the HOA in my neighborhood. So yeah, that was a really great way to end the week. So now let's talk about my numbers. On Poshmark, I sold 18 items. This was like the return of Poshmark for me. I was extremely thankful to have all these sales, and it wasn't even like, I ran any kind of sale. It's not even like I sent out crazy offers, but I think it really was just relisting and relisting a lot. And that's why I was able to move some old inventory. So I sold 18 items for $505 as my gross sales. Once you factor in Poshmark's fees and any discounts that were offered because of Posh VA, that total drops to $383.53. I had $80.52 as my cost of goods, and so my net profit for Poshmark was $303.01. On eBay, I sold 14 items for a gross sales amount of $408.94. Once you factor in eBay's fees, that total drops to $338.47. My cost of goods on eBay was $56.75, and so my net profit was $281.72 on eBay. On Mercari, I sold 5 items, and that was for a gross sales amount of $165. Once you factor in Mercari's fees, that total drops to $142.22. My cost of goods for those 5 items was $13.43, and so my net profit was $128.79. On Facebook Marketplace, I sold 2 items for a gross sales amount of $75. Once you factor in Facebook Marketplace's very low fees, and I only had to pay for fees on the pair of overalls because the local stuff they don't really charge fees on, so that total dropped to $72.29. My cost of goods for those 2 items was $9.01, and my net profit was $63.28. So in total this week, I sold 39 items, which was so much better than the week before when I think I sold like 15. My gross sales amount was $1,153.94. Once you factor in shipping and fees, that total drops to $936.51. My cost of goods for those 39 items was $159.71. And so my net profit for the week was $776.80. I was really happy just because that came off of, like I said, a really rough week. And it was nice to kind of feel like I redeemed myself. It was nice to feel like, okay, I don't completely just suck at this. And then the next week, it kind of went back to, it wasn't amazing. So I don't know. That was my week of reselling. I think it perfectly encapsulates what reselling looks like. Sometimes you have some really, nice moments. Oftentimes you've got kind of these dips, but it all kind of levels out. And as long as you are okay with the dips, and you're not only counting on, having these highs all the time, I think you'll do okay. So that was my sales week. Thank you so much for watching this video. And if you enjoyed it, please hit that like button. I would so appreciate it because it helps YouTube know that this is a good video and other people should be watching it too. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.